Okay, so this is the question, and the question is basically saying that in 1998, the United States Department of Transportation received nearly 10K consumer complaints about their airlines. Okay, in 1998, it received over 2,000. So the author has basically given me two times. One is the 98, and the complaints were, let's say, 10K. And in 99, the complaints were received over. So the complaints got double than 20K. Then it says, moreover, the number of complaints per 100 passengers also more than doubled. Okay, so if I am basically describing complaints per some, if there is a ratio of complaints per a number of some passengers, okay, passengers, then it is saying that, hey man, uh, it's, what did it say? Moreover, the number of complaints per 100K passengers also doubled. So number of complaints. Okay, let's call this to be question mark, and this.
I think this part will. I think this part will eradicate, remove that part that population is growing because it is
Yeah.
usually
Yeah, I mean,
right.
GRE and ETS is, I mean, super smart at doing this. Why? Because one of the easiest way to weaken an argument is the fact that, hey, you simply say that population is growing. So probably the reason why ETS has done this and given this evidence over here is because they do not want an easy piece of cake question for the test takers, and they really want the test takers to think and kind of like come up with a sound argument. Okay. Then it says, in the both years, the vast majority of the complaints concern flight delays, cancellation, mishandling, baggage, and customer services. So in the both years, the vast majority of complaint concerned. So basically, he has given me some information that, hey, what were those complaints really about? So there are some details, okay. And then it says, clearly, therefore, okay, so now I'm basically seeing a conclusion. It says, clearly, therefore, despite the United States airline industry's serious efforts to improve performance in these areas, okay, so there are some efforts, okay, to increase, efforts to improve, okay, efforts to improve in these areas, okay, these areas which the author basically highlighted previously. Passengers' dissatisfaction with the airline service increased significantly, okay, significantly in 1919. Okay, so basically saying that dissatisfaction and the fact that the customers are basically having these complaints is growing in 19 when it comes to 1919. Okay, so the author is basically has given me two times. One, the complaints was 10K, the other was 20K and more. And he gave me a very solid, concrete second premise, which stated that, hey, these complaints per 100K passengers also doubled. So basically, I cannot say that the reason why complaints are growing is because population is growing. And then he said that, hey, there were, even though the airport has, taken care of these specific areas, and even the fact that, there are, oops, what just happened? Oh, sorry. Okay, even the fact that there have been some efforts to improve these areas, customer dissatisfaction complaints have increased significantly. Blah blah blah, something to this effect. So I think the best way to kind of like resolve this type of, or kind of like weaken this argument, is the fact that there is this common, flaw that ETS loves using even in its ETS prompts, is the flaw of, the credibility of of evidence. And the way basically it works is whenever you see these polls and reports, okay, or complaints, Okay.
You
These
mean they are not
complaints,
accurate,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So these polls and complaints give you some type of statistics, right? These give you some type of statistics. However, this could be the case that these polls, or the results of these polls, these reports, and complaints are not an accurate picture. Okay, an accurate picture. Okay, so the author has basically stated that, hey, by the way, in 90, I don't really remember, probably 1990 and 98, yeah. So probably he said there was some 10K complaints, and then he was like, hey, the complaints have doubled. What if I basically attack this argument right here, this premise right here, and say that, hey, by the way, you are basically complaining about the gap. Okay, this is what your complaint is, that it's going high. What if I can come up with an argument that says that the reason why the number of complaints, seems to increase is because in 98 the complaint, let me just scroll down a little bit. Okay. So the complaint registration office, or registering services, sucked. Okay. I mean, what if in 98 people, the customers, oops, people used to wait like in a long lane just to provide a feedback, or properly there was no electronic media in which people can simply answer the level of satisfaction they had, like these days they have like how satisfied you were with our services based on the scale of 0 to 5, and the 5 is like the happiest and the 0 is like the worst, that kind of stuff. So what if on 98 the complaint registration services sucked so much that people used to say that, hey man, it's better worth that going home and chilling than to wait in this giant line, is this huge long line, and people never actually used to bother registering their complaints. Or maybe the picture is not accurate. Maybe people didn't even get the chance to basically register their complaint, or probably the complaint office was not very active, something to this effect. So if I can basically attack this argument that, hey buddy, the way you're starting from a small number all the way to you're shifting to a large number, okay, hey buddy, this number was never small at the first place. At the first place.
Really?
Yeah, go ahead.
You are attacking by just saying, right, that these polls or these stats are not accurate. There are some errors in them,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Credibility of evidence. I call it the credibility of evidence right over here.
So in this weakening part, wherever we see these positions weakening, we can say like this: if there are polls or report, we can attack on them first, right? Then we can say that something or something is missing in them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would definitely. I mean, this is super common in ETS. This argument essay in ETS prompts. I mean, there is a lot of stuff. I mean, you will see these polls, and the fact that a lot of people, submitted some reports, or there were some complaints center, blah blah blah. I mean, you can easily attack it by saying that, hey, what if these statistics are basically giving a skewed picture of what, and or skewed picture, or maybe not representing the real picture of what is going on. So I just attacked it by saying, hey man, the stuff that you're talking about, the small and the large, this number was never small. The reason why you're seeing this a small number, Why? Because people had no way to basically register their service. You following so far?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so now if I come back up, now that I have done with my attack, all I need to do is go one by one and see which of these answer choices are stating what my argument is. Okay, so let's see. Although the number of consumer complaints increased for every major United States airline in 1999, for some airlines, the extent of the increase was substantial, whereas others was extremely small. So, first of all, am I really interested in every major United States airline? I mean, is this even the concern of this passage over here?
Mm.
Uh, the answer is no. I mean, not really. Okay. Number D. The appearance in the 1999 of many new internet sites that relay complaints directly to the Department of Transportation had made filling a complaint about airlines much easier for consumers than ever before. Okay, so
Previously they can register, now they can register easily.
yeah, so it's kind of like saying the same thing, but it is basically rephrasing it. It's saying that, hey, you know what? From 1998 to 1998 to 99, in 99, people can register their complaints far more easily or electronically than they used to do in 98. And this is the reason why you were getting such a small number at 98 and now you're getting a large number in 99, where in reality this small number never existed. The complaint were already there. So D seems to be pretty good. Let's see what other has to say. C says fewer bags per 100 passenger flying on the United States Airlines were lost or delayed in 1919 than in 1998.
It is, I think it is considering only one aspect, not all the problems.
Uh, well, you could say that, and a bit. I mean, this is like, I mean, the author basically describes so many things. If you say flight delays, cancellation, mishandled bag
Yeah,
management, customer
but it is
service, blah blah blah. Now the question is, I mean, how would I, come up with a rebuttal or disagree with this? It's basically assuming that just focusing on this bag problem is probably going to resolve anything or probably going to solve anything. I mean, it's just not enough. I mean, what about the complaints of the other cases? So that is not definitely doing a pretty job. So I'm just going to cancel this one. B says the number of passengers flying on the United States airline was significantly higher in 1919 than in 1998. Okay,
but
so
the
if you
ratio was saying not be.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So if you remember, I mean, this is a pretty good argument if this specific information was simply not there. So the reason why this cannot be considered as a valid rebuttal for this argument is because of the given fact that, hey, when it comes to the complaints, the number of complaints per passengers, hey, they doubled. That's why I cannot simply come up with an argument that, hey, in the second year in the 1919, a population just boosted, so skyrocketed. That's why there are a lot of complaints. So this evidence is basically dismantling this option right here. So I can cancel this out. Let's see what A has to say. A is saying, although the percentage of flights that arrived on time dropped slightly overall, okay, so the flights are dropping slightly, okay, from 77% in 98 to 76% in 99. Some United States Airlines 1999 on time rate was actually better than in 1998 on time rate.
It is supporting
I
supporting
mean,
things.
this is a bit too weird. Why it is weird? Because instead of basically giving me a reason that why complaints are going higher, let's call him Alice just for the sake of an argument. Alice is basically telling me that, hey, you know what? When it comes to the time, 1919, in the 1919 year, people were able to reach their destinations on a more accurate time, more quickly, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is not helping me. This is not helping to weaken. It's almost like supporting what the author is trying
Yeah,
to
it's
say.
supporting.
It's not helping me to weaken the argument. So, guys, through the process of elimination, D must be the answer. And the way I was able to do it was because credibility of the evidence and attacking this piece right here. So, do we have any questions regarding to what we did?
No.
Okay, cool.